Hello guys. So welcome back to the video number 3. So in this basically video we'll try to cover chapter 3 and 4. So these two chapters have similar topics, so I thought to merge these both. The basic theme here is monopoly versus perfect competition. So the author here, Peter Thiel, basically he uh, shows the difference. What's the difference between perfect competition and monopoly, and which is better for a startup? Okay, so basically we are going through two chapters, that is all happy companies are different. Okay, and the fourth one is the ideology of competition. Okay, so let's get straight directly to the point. If you remember, I've talked about one question which still is there, still continues in chapter 3, which is what is the contagion question. Okay, and in terms of business, the author has answered is, what valuable company is nobody building? I mean, that's the question we need to ask, that if I want to build a company which is valuable. Now, when you say valuable, what do you mean by it? So, two things here. One, if you create value to the customers. Second, you accumulate value for from the business, right? You have to do both the things, which is very important. When you say valuable company, a company which provides value to the customers, also it creates value for itself. For example, he gave two examples here, two sectors basically. You can say one is the airline sector, the other one is software company Google. Now, airline companies here, he has said that given there are many airline companies in US, there is no as such differentiation between them. And what they used to do is, I mean, though each aircraft, the tickets were high and they used to earn a lot of revenues from that. But at the end of the day, when they talk about the profits, they were very small because they were very thin margin for these airline businesses. While if we talk about Google, it was a kind of monopolistic company. In that case, so it had accumulated lot of profits because it was a monopoly, so they had a good amount of margin. So everything boils down to the margin the company has, right? So when you talk about airline, right, it's a perfect competition, while Google is a monopoly company. So that is now coming, like, now why I'm trying to relate this is, that is what why I'm trying to say this is because the author has finally come to the conclusion, like this is the whole crux of the chapter number 3 and 4, that monopoly is a better structure, better way to work than perfect competition. Because if you know a bit of economics, in perfect competition the margins are very thin, and in a long term perspective there are no economic profits, right? I mean, they could be financial profits, but there are no economic profits. Now there's a difference, what are financial profits and what are economic profits are. That's a different discussion altogether. But whole point, what we're trying to uh, bring it out here is that if you are operating in a perfect competition, chances of being successful, or chances of being the market leader is very less. While if you have a monopoly company, then you have a flexibility of doing lot of things, and you will be obviously successful. Since you're a monopoly, you will have uh, you have will have hold of the whole market, right? Now, just if someone does not know what a monopoly or perfect competition, let me simply, in simple example, I can say, maybe if we talk about the dairy industry, right? In India, there are many brands: Amul, Mother Dairy, etc. Now, this is a kind of perfect competition where each brand is competing against each brand, because there is no any USP, any unique selling product proposition, sorry, unique selling proposition between these companies. They are selling the same thing, that is milk, right, or the dairy products, which is not different. So their margins are very thin, because if every company is competing with each other, everyone wants to capture the maximum share of the market. Now when it comes to companies like, let's say, monopoly companies, maybe say, let's say, telecom industry, we see Geo and Airtel, right? They are kind of monopolistic. They have captured the maximum amount of share. There is no BSNL, there is no Vodafone, but Geo has the maximum share of user base. Now, since Geo enjoys that, it enjoys that amount of users, um, uh, uh, then it has the flexibility to decide what it can do, what it cannot do. It's not driven by other companies, right? So that's the whole point. Now, the whole point here comes again to PayPal, the company's founder and the author. He said that he the product that he created, that payment through email, right, during 1998, it his company was the only company which was offering that product, and hence they were a monopoly. And since they were a monopoly, they used to create a lot of valuable values. They were able to accrue a lot of value, and they were able to create a lot of value as well, compared to other, like, if any there is any restaurant, he has compared this with a restaurant in on the streets. So they don't have any differentiating factor as such. So hence, like, since the PayPal has monopoly, they were way better in creating value compared to these restaurants. Okay. Moving next, so he has said that if we want to create a, and capture lasting value, don't build an undifferentiated commodity business. So basically, you need to create a business which is unique, which has its USP, and no one can easily, copy it. That's the whole point. Moving forward, um, so how these monopolistic companies, and how these perfect competition companies kind of say lie in front of the shareholders, or in audience, so that um, they are not very much exposing themselves. For example, company like Google, which has a monopoly, it won't directly say that, no, I am a monopolistic business and we are the business leaders. It will always be humble. Now, the reason here is they don't want to draw unwanted attention. They don't want to create any other brand which competes Google, right? Now they don't want to be in the limelight. That's the whole point. So they will always say, we are in a perfect we are we face extremely competitive landscape, in which in the area where we are operating, something like that. So just downplaying their own power. While if you talk about perfect competition, so they what what they will say, okay, we are in such a niche that no one can copy us. For example, maybe let's say you are in Africa. I'm giving an example so you can better understand. So you're in Africa and you have uh, a brand which sells luxury, cars. Okay, let's take this an example. Now, Africa, where the per capita income is very less, people won't be buying those luxury cars. Even if you're a monopoly, even if you say, I mean, if you even if you say that we are selling cars, but in those cars, specifically niche is our luxury cars, but you have to identify, are you, I mean, are you in a right market? Is there is there a market over there? There is no market, right? In Africa, since people do not have food to eat, how will they afford a luxury BMW or a sedan cars? So that's the whole point. um yeah, now talking about monopoly also. So it is not like that. If a company is a monopoly, it will always be in a monopoly. It needs to be creative monopolism. That is what the term here is, which means that the monopolistic company needs to evolve, now and then, so that it is relevant to the market. It continuously creates value, or else in a long run it will be replaced by some other company and it will be redundant. For example, Apple, it launched it iOS. Before that, if you know, there was Nokia and some other phones. They did not develop themselves, they did not evolve themselves with time. However, they were at monopoly before. Since they did not evolve themselves, they kind of were, left back. And like smartphones or Apple, which tried to bring new products, they gain the market share. Hence, you have to be creative. When even if you're in a monopoly, you cannot be very comfortable that, if you're a monopoly, no one can capture your market share. Moving forward, finally he says that in conclusion, monopoly is the condition of every successful business, right? You need to, I'll repeat it again, quote, monopoly is the condition of every successful business, unquote. So this is a very important phrase. Now, this was about chapter 3. Now, chapter 4 is a similar thing which we've discussed. Largely, it talks about the same thing. Um, but just let me see, if there is anything which I want to bring it out here. Nothing as such. Yeah. So that is the whole thing which I think I wanted to bring it out. Yeah. So one more thing. Always, so he has brought out a instance. So just before the dot-com bubble, right? When they were making good amount of money, but Elon Musk also launched a similar company in the a similar kind of business. Now both were rivals, right? Uh, so they were competing with each other. Now Elon Musk's like the company, which was named as X.com, also grew its market share very rigorously over the years. And now they were kind of competing with each other. It was like 50-50 market share of those products. In this case, uh, just before the dot-com bubble. Now I'll tell you what this whole story is about, why I'm trying to say bring it out here. So basically, just before the dot-com bubble, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk both met. Okay, they said that, yeah, we both are competitors of each other in the same market. However, there could be a bigger crash coming, dot-com bubble crash, and we need to be safeguarded from that. So maybe we should merge both companies 50-50. Coming back, why I'm saying this is, you, even if you're a monopoly, you cannot be very, you know um, so stringent that I just want to, I don't want to collaborate with anyone. You cannot be doing that. You have to be dynamic, like how the system, how is the environment is. You have to be flexible with that. So what they did is they both merged these two companies. Because of that, they were able to survive the you know dot-com bubble crash. or else if they both had not collaborated, they would have been individual companies. Their whole both the companies would have kind of collapsed. So that is one thing. Yeah, largely this was it. Tomorrow we'll cover chapter number 5, where the author talks about how to create creative monopoly. So yes, let me know in the comment section how do you like the video. I'm trying to make these videos for myself, also for my own growth. But if I'm adding some value to you, please like the video, and please put in comment if you have any suggestion, any feedback. I would love to hear that. Thank you.